All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're setting up the ultimate brain versus bot showdown in modern education. We're looking at some absolutely groundbreaking research led by Dr. Fernando Hernandez Gomez at Keiser University Latin American Campus, or QLAC. It's all about how generative AI is completely flipping the math classroom upside down, and it asks a really profound question about what actually happens to our own human reasoning when machines start doing all the heavy lifting. So I want you to really think about this for a second. Is it actually possible to get a perfect math score without having any idea what the result actually means? I mean, think about it. If an AI just spits out a flawless equation for your assignment and you get an A+, did you actually learn anything? Or did you just become a really highly efficient copy and paste robot? That is the core mystery we're unpacking today. And the answer to it literally redefines the entire purpose of higher education. Well, this brings us straight to what the research brilliantly calls the paradox of correctness without comprehension. It's wild, right? Generative AI can churn out these perfect predictions, analytical solutions, you name it. But the paradox is that students can hand in these flawless answers without any substantive understanding of the underlying assumptions, the limits of the models, or even the real-world implications of that data. You've got the right answer, sure, but zero semantic understanding of why it's right. It's literally an epistemological crisis. So, to figure this out, here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the AI paradox, strategic semiotic competence, the ACD pedagogical model, some real-world cases from QLAC, and finally, how we preserve our epistemic agency. Okay, starting off with Section 1, the AI paradox, or calculating blindly. Now, to be totally clear, this research isn't saying AI is the enemy or that we need to throw all our calculators out the window, but it does force a massive shift in how we think. Back in the day, math education was all about just getting the answer. But crunching numbers, that's cheap now. A machine does it in literally a millisecond. So the real value of human education now is entirely about the semantic interpretation of what those automated numbers actually mean in reality. It's about evaluating the assumptions the AI made and then using human judgment to make complex decisions. Moving on to Section 2, strategic semiotic competence. This is the ultimate human differentiator. All right, so if the machine is doing all the calculating, what on earth is our job? Enter SSC, or strategic semiotic competence. I know, it sounds super academic, but let's break it down into something really practical. Think of this framework as your human superpower in the digital age. It's basically our irreplaceable ability to look at a messy, real-world problem and intentionally choose the right mathematical tool to solve it. The AI can draw the graph, but only you, using SSC, can actually select the right representation, coordinate it with real-world data, and validate if it even makes sense. And you can see how this builds powerfully on older theories, like basic representational competence used to just mean knowing how to turn a formula into a graph. Pretty basic cognitive operation, right? But SSC takes it to a whole new level. It adds this totally crucial layer of strategic contextual decision-making. You're not just formatting stuff, you're making an intentional choice based on your specific problem and your specific goal. And this right here perfectly illustrates the real battleground between humans and machines. Representational fluency, just the pure speed and ease of translating data. Well, frankly, AI is completely dominating that game right now, hands down. But while the bot has the speed, it's us, the humans, who possess the critical evaluation and justification skills that make up SSC. The bot is incredibly fast, for sure, but the human is strategic. Which brings us to Section 3, the ACD pedagogical model, where we integrate deep learning. So you're probably wondering, how do we actually teach this human superpower? Well, QLAC uses what's called the ACD framework: analytical, communicative, and decisional. And the research hits this point really hard. These are absolutely not isolated standalone skills. They work together as one functional, interdependent system. Analytically, you formulate the model. Communicatively, you got to translate those super technical results so regular people can actually understand them. And decisionally, you use your own evaluative judgment to make tough choices under uncertainty. Take away just one of these dimensions, and the whole system kind of collapses, and you're back to just blindly calculating. All right, Section 4, real-world cases at KULAC. Let's see this theory in practice from spring 2026. Let's pull this out of the theoretical clouds and look at some actual data from QLAC students. Using this exact ACD model, they tackled some incredibly diverse stuff. We're talking clinical pharmacokinetics, mapping out how drugs move through the body, and analyzing really complex industrial costs. But let's look at this one specific public health example. Students looked at a 15% drop in Nicaragua's mortality rate using simple ratios and percentages. But here's the kicker. They didn't just hand in a worksheet of numbers. They transformed those basic math concepts into a profound analysis connecting percentages to actual public health and quality of life improvements. They gave the math real-world meaning. Finally, Section 5, Preserving Epistemic Agency, how we maintain control of our reasoning. Okay, this brings us to the absolute biggest takeaway regarding your own future in education and the workforce. We really need to clearly contrast what a machine does with what you have to do. Automation just blindly produces results and adjusts models based on its training data. But epistemic agency, that means you are in the driver's seat of your own human reasoning. You're critically evaluating what the AI spits out. You build your own explanations. Basically, you're not just a passenger letting the AI drive. You're the pilot, governing the automation from a place of true comprehension. It really all boils down to this one powerful core principle from the research. The formative value does not reside in the mere obtaining of an equation, but in the reasoned justification. Getting the right answer, that's just not the impressive part anymore. Explaining exactly why it is the right answer and what it means for the real world, well, that's what makes you truly educated. So, I want to leave you with this provocative question to chew on. In a world where AI does all the calculating for us, how are you going to adapt your critical thinking to govern that automation from a place of real understanding? Are you just outsourcing your brain, or are you upgrading your strategic competence? If you want to dig deeper into all this, definitely check out the Matemáticas en la Era IA infographic and the full QLAC case studies in the description below. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.